Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Geek Cause. Welcome to episode 8.
8?
Almost 9. I don't know why that's significant. I'm telling you right now.
That's significant. Not the fact we're 2 away from 10.
No, 9.
We're almost 9.
9 is great.
9's the new milestone.
Yes, 9 is the milestone. If we can make it to 9, we can make it to the ends of the earth, baby. So,
whatever you say, Cody. Whatever you say.
How. I don't know what I'm going to say there.
You're like pretending to be Machine Gun.
That Machine Gun sound?
I'm going to make a game now. And that's going to be the sound of all the guns in it.
Oh, shit. So we welcome you to this very average episode of The Geek Cause, where we have nothing special going on, no special guests, no super special topics, but there is one thing special, and that's you guys listening to us.
I thought you were going to say me. I got excited there for a second.
Yeah. We thank you for all your support. Real quick, I'll just go into the fact that we've got quite a few people that have joined the Discord. We've got quite a few people that followed my stream on Mixer when I started. I think I got like 10 follows the first day when I was streaming Minecraft. It was fun. It was a great time.
Those are almost like ninja level numbers.
It's really close. If you get 10 a stream,
yeah,
in about 100 days, that's 1,000.
There you exactly. So think about it, in about 40 years.
I'll be the same level as Ninja.
In your 60s.
A little less obnoxious though. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe about the same level of obnoxious.
The same.
Yeah, so it was good. We've done a lot of cool stuff lately, and you guys seem to be reacting positively, so we're happy about that. Kyle, what about you? Have you noticed anything yourself going on? You always stream at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I doubt you're gonna get many viewers.
Not often. I get whenever I'm playing Siege, there's a Mixer page called it's like a hype page, and they literally monitor Siege streams, and they notice when someone's at the end of a round, and it's like the odds are against them. The hype zone shows up, quote unquote, and pretty much they bring 40 or so viewers with them just to cheer you on as you're trying to clutch the game.
Come on, win. And then when you don't, it's like, no.
Yeah, it's like, that's awkward. It's like
leave. Everybody leave.
I had 3 people watching me before, and now I have 30 people just watch me lose. But you didn't come to watch me win the last game though.
Yeah, how'd that go?
No, not well.
Did you win?
The last game?
Yeah,
the game before, yeah. The game people watched, no.
Well, that's of course it's how it works.
It just never goes the right way.
Anyways, it's been really cool seeing you guys interact. The more of that we get, the better. We're noticing a lot of people are listening rather.
Well, they could be watching.
Yeah, they could be if you're on YouTube, but you're probably mostly listening.
Or they're here.
They're here in the walls.
They're watching us.
It's something that we want to keep promoting and keep doing more and more. And as long as we get feedback from it and we hear people talk good about it, we'll keep doing it. So just wanted to give a quick thanks to everybody that's been,
little appreciation moment for you.
Yeah, for you. Now let's have a little appreciation moment for Kyle.
Woo!
Kyle, I'm proud of you. Not only did you show up at a decent time today, but you did it from your own volition.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that you have something really interesting to talk about your last week that's happened.
I wish I did.
Tell us about your life.
I wish I did. I've been doing, as you would all expect, nothing.
Oh, God.
No, I've been spending a lot of time behind the camera. I got my camera handle, got a little light for my camera as well.
Yeah.
So pretty much you can just take better shots, and I'm dabbling in the moving picture world now. That newfangled form of media. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Videography?
Moving pictures, I call it.
Just moving pictures.
Moving pictures.
Flashing pictures at a rate of anywhere from 30 to 60 FPS.
I like to call it kinetic photography.
That actually would be way better than
sounds badass.
Videography.
Yeah.
Kinetic photography.
I've been messing around with that. And while I'm not trying to be the next Alfred Hitchcock, I'm just playing through games I haven't played. I actually played through Devil May Cry 5.
Oh yeah, is it the one that just came out?
Yeah.
Or how was it?
It's actually really good. I actually really enjoyed it.
I feel like we've talked about this before at some point.
Have we?
I feel like we have in like a previous... We're getting to that point now that we have to remember that 7 weeks ago we were talking about anything, and I don't even remember.
No. To be honest, I don't remember what we did talk about 2 weeks ago.
We've hit the creator world where we've put out enough content that we don't remember what we've done.
So how long till we get famous?
At least 5 years.
Okay, so 5 years till we get famous. So you're thinking about 7, 8 before the drug habits kick in?
Yeah, no, those will kick in about halfway through because we can't handle not being famous.
Ah, right. And then we'll get famous, get clean, and then the fame will get to us.
Yes, and then we'll relapse.
And then...
This is getting really dark. We're gonna get off of this.
And then we'll come back and have a great comeback and become Iron Man.
Yeah. Alright. As for me, just the streams that I've been doing. I've got that stuff set up. Been going good. Haven't had too much of issues. Actually streamed yesterday, played some Divinity. Didn't really get too many new... I don't think I got any new followers or anything like that, but I had a couple people stop in and watch real quick, and my sister and my brother-in-law were in there. I was playing Divinity Original Sin 2, which is a very niche game, so it's not like I was surprised at all, but it was fun. I had a good time with my buddy trying to beat the game, and we're not even remotely close, apparently. I have no idea. We've been playing that. We have over 100 hours in that game, and we still haven't beat it yet. Like, that's because it's a turn-based strategy, so it takes as long as it takes you to figure out how to, like, win. Like, you know what I mean? It's basically Dungeons and Dragons on the computer.
Oh.
So, 100-hour campaign, I mean, you can't...
You're gonna be at that for a very long time.
Yeah, we're near the end, though. I know we're near the end, but we thought we were near the end about 10 or 15 hours ago, so it's really dependent on if we can bumble our way through quick enough.
In all honesty, you don't actually know how far away from the end you really are.
I mean, we could look, but it doesn't matter.
It's kind of, we have to be near the end now.
We're like on the last, we're on the last chapter.
Oh.
I know that.
But how long that chapter is, you have no idea.
I don't know. I have no idea. The second chapter flew by, and then the first and the third are, like, drudged.
That's exactly what you want. You want to drag it out at the start, quick middle, then drag out the end.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. I mean, it's fun, but it's been a struggle to get through. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just I haven't done a whole lot of anything different. Just been preparing to do more and more, get more out there, do more stuff,
evolve, as you would say.
Yeah, evolve into our topics today.
Oh,
we have quite a few. We're gonna see how much we can get through. We already spent 9 minutes literally just talking shit. So let's see what happens when we actually get into the topics. And
that was a good sign.
We might have a lot of topics today, and we might only be able to get through a few. Let's see what happens. So starting off, no surprise to anyone, I think, but Nintendo is really dropping the hammer on people using their video game music, for YouTube videos.
Nintendo, the copyright kings, as you would say.
I mean, they really do just hate anybody ever using their stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
And they're good people. They come out with good stuff. They really care about their consumers, except when it comes to anybody being able to enjoy their things without them.
If you're making money off of our things in any way, or could even make money, even if you're not yet, but could in the future, it's like, that's not okay.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because though a lot of these YouTube channels refuse. So what's happening is, quite a few popular YouTube channels where you can listen to, whether it be retro Nintendo music or more current Nintendo music, they post videos, and you can just listen through it. And I guess what's happening is they've been established for quite a while. They have over 300,000 subs for a lot of them, and Nintendo's just copyright striking all of the videos, just one by one, boop, 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 boop,
every single one of them
that have anything to do with Nintendo, even if these YouTube creators are not monetizing the videos.
Yeah, they're just doing it anyways. They just see, oh, you're using my music. No. they press the big right button.
Yeah, I mean, which to me is dumb because it's not like these people are making money off of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if they are, I mean, listen, this is what it comes down to is Nintendo has full right to do this, right?
Oh yeah.
It's their property. Technically, it's copyright infringement. They're putting stuff up on the platform. I mean, apparently they started doing this because when the new Fire Emblem came out, they wanted to crack down on people putting that music online because they're planning on selling a soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. I get it.
Understandable.
The issue is, though, Nintendo could be putting this on YouTube themselves and monetizing it and making money and having the music up, but they refuse to. And they don't do it with any of their stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it be retro games, current games, anything. They don't do this. And so it makes it nigh impossible for anyone to listen to the music unless you buy the game and play it and listen to it that way, or illegally download it.
Yeah, or rip the music from the game yourself.
Or the some of them that have CDs that they've created or put out, a lot of them end up not even making it to, the States or anywhere else. They're just in Japan because who's going to, like, what music store is going to be like, you know what, I bet I'm going to get a lot of people that want to buy
it's like, oh yeah, we need to stock
Fire
up.
Emblem.
Yeah, we need to stock up on our copies of the Fire Emblem soundtrack.
Like, you're just not going to get that kind of...
It's like, do you think like they'd get like a new shipment in and they'd open it up and it's like, oh, here's Slipknot's new album. Oh, and here's the Fire Emblem soundtrack.
Like it's not that there's not enough people that want to listen to it. It's just that are going to go out and buy a CD for it.
No one.
It's not going to happen.
Not even just go out and buy the Fire Emblem CD, but just go out and buy CDs as a whole.
Yeah, and so then when you look at crazy import costs to get it in from Japan, if they don't have it anywhere else, if they even have a CD at all,
yeah.
You have no way to listen to this music unless you buy the game and you listen to it from the game, which that's not listening to it and enjoying it. Imagine if every time you wanted to listen to a Fire Emblem song while you're studying or something, you had to turn on your Nintendo Switch, put it on the TV, and then crank up the TV volume, and then don't do anything on it and just listen to do 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 do. Like, it's
dumb.
Nintendo, when it comes to their properties, especially like music, videos, and stuff like that, they make no sense. They just don't want people to create stuff and cause it. This brings interest to their products, and I just feel like they don't care. They're looking at it as, we could lose money in the future for something.
Yeah, we could lose money on this. They don't see the fact that goes, oh, this guy's uploaded a 30-minute loop of, a song from Ocarina of Time. It has like millions of views, surely because people just like listening to the song that we made for this game. That's kind of cool. Or going, oh, we could just upload this ourselves officially and monetize it and make money ourselves.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like, if you can't, then it's fine, but we're not gonna.
Well, you know what I don't get is, it's clearly not like just a money thing, because Nintendo doesn't... I mean, they already like lose a lot of money for a lot of different things, and they're not trying to suck money from people, clearly, because they pay their developers good, they pay the people that work for them good.
Yeah, they're very fair.
They do a lot of, fair things. I think what it has to do with is, they're worried somebody's going to tarnish their property or do something that they don't want. They may not be like super money hungry in a lot of ways. Like, they do like money, but they may not be like crazy about it, that they're like, assholes.
They're protective.
But they're very, very, and they always have been. Back in, to Nintendo days, when people would try to create games for the Nintendo console, they made them go through strict regulations before they could do it and pay, like, money to make sure that they weren't going to, create something that was going to tarnish their brand. And if they decide they didn't want to do that, then they refused to put them on their system, and it had to be an unlicensed Nintendo game, because they didn't want their product to be tarnished by saying we published this from Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I get them. They want to be protected. They don't want people to, you can have issues where people, I don't know, call somebody an asshat in the game or something like that. And you don't want to be the one that, you don't want to be the company that has to, be like, oh, well, it was on your system. But at the same time, all you're doing is creating bad will with the people that have defended you for years for all the good things that you've done, by striking their channels down when they're not even making money, and being like, haha, you can't... I mean,
it's not even just striking channels as well. Some channels have been deleted because of it.
Yeah, completely taken down. And when I told you before we, started recording, I was like, if this were... all that's gonna be, I love listening to like retro video game music when I'm playing a game, streaming, doing whatever.
Yeah.
And if I can't listen to it on YouTube, and I can't pay for it somehow, like for a fair price, I'm just gonna download it.
Yeah, it's pirate.
It's just gonna, it's gonna be more of a hassle, but you know what? It's not fair to anybody that wants to listen to it. It's one of those things where you have a product that you don't want anybody to touch, release, or do anything with, right? But you refuse to do anything with it, but you're just like, no, I'm not, you can't touch it because I might want to do something eventually. It's childish. It's like that, you know, that friend back in the day that had the Game Boy that never played his Game Boy. Ever. Never played Pokemon Red on it, even though he had it. He would just let it sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna play something else. I'm gonna do something else. And then he'd be like, can I borrow that since you don't use it? And he's like, oh, no, that's mine, so you can't borrow it. And it's like,
but you're not using it.
You're not using it, though. You're not doing anything with it. You're not enjoying it. I could enjoy it, and I'm just borrowing it. I'm using it. I'm enjoying it, and then it's yours, though, so you can have it at any time.
It's still yours.
No, I don't want to do that. And I say that because I had a friend that was like that, and it was the most frustrating thing ever. So, all in all, Nintendo, you're gonna cause more every time you do this, you cause bad will for yourself, and you have one less Nintendo fan. You need to think about what you're doing, and if you're gonna start striking these channels or completely taking them down, then you need to start putting out the music yourself and allowing people to listen to it.
Yeah, be more like Capcom. I'm pretty sure Capcom do it.
Capcom.
I'm pretty sure you can get like all
Square Enix does quite a fair bit of it.
I'm pretty sure it's all on YouTube, and you can get all their stuff on Spotify as well.
Yep. A lot of other companies have been like, let's be proactive, and we'll get ad revenue from it too.
Yeah.
So
everyone wins that way.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo just likes losing apparently. So
good job, Nintendo. Speaking of possibly losing,
they're
not going to lose.
No, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. You can't defeat our overlords, Epic Games.
Everyone's favorite.
Praise them for their Fortnightiness.
Fortnightiness.
I Fortnite you in the name of Epic Games.
You know what's funny is no one cared about this game for like the very beginning of it. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's another battle royale.
No one give a crap.
Gross. I don't want to deal with this."
Fortnite? No, I'll stick to PUBG.
And then in a fortnight, in 2 weeks of it being online, and we saw someone play it. You know, like they saw like a popular streamers play it. Everyone jumped on it. It's just weird to me. Like, it's like, okay, now it's the best thing ever and everyone loves it.
Yeah, it's like hotcakes.
It's so weird to me. But anyways.
Yeah, back in August of last year.
August 2018.
There was a security breach uncovered. It's a hack that was done through, like, what was it?
So, Unreal's Tournament
website from 2004.
Yeah, a statistics page.
Yeah, got them access to pretty much Epic servers, which could make you listen into people's microphones while playing Fortnite and give you access to their credit card information.
Basically, you had access to their account without ever having to
do it yourself.
Yeah, without ever having them have to enter anything in necessarily.
Yeah. And apparently Epic didn't fix this until January of 2019.
Yeah, so
that's when they addressed it anyways.
3 or 4 months?
Yeah, after the fact.
No, 5 months, isn't that?
August.
4 or 5 months.
September,
November,
December, January.
4 months.
Oh.
4, 5. 4 or 5.
We can't count.
4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months later, they fixed it, told people that was going on. But now, there is a firm coming after them, Franklin D. Azar and Associates, in the U.S. District Court of North Carolina, which is where Epic is actually based.
Oh,
their
great.
Headquarters. I didn't know that. They're filing a class action lawsuit against them for, quote, failure to maintain adequate security measures and notify users of the security breach in a timely manner.
Now, to be fair, Epic did wait 4 months before they told anybody.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how long it took to... Didn't it only take a month to fix it? They fixed it in November. They found out in August.
And they fixed it in November. And they didn't tell you till January.
So, that was 4 months?
We're going back to counting months.
Okay, all of August, all of September, all of October to November.
Yeah.
So, somewhere between 3 and 4, depending on when in August it was found.
Yeah.
And then another 2 months before they told anybody.
Yeah. not telling anyone while you're fixing it is understandable because you don't want the people who doing it.
Or even right after, I would say I understand because you want to make sure that everything's stable and going through fine.
But I suppose waiting 2 months is a little bit like, you could have like waited 2 weeks and you'd know at that point. You're a big company.
Well, also you have to think is they could have at least said we have some security issues.
Yeah, some concerns.
We're trying to fix them now. I recommend you set up 2-factor authentication or something like that.
Yeah.
They could have done something along those lines.
And then they think they fixed it. They could go, oh, we had a security issue. We believe we fixed it. We're monitoring it over the next couple of months. And then make sure to have your 2-factor authentication on and stuff like that. But the issue should be fixed.
And then after they were sure that it was fixed, for sure they could have came out and said exactly what it was. We're sorry for this issue. Now. Blah 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 blah. But instead, they kind of were just silent about the whole thing because they didn't want to tell people that there was an issue for as long as possible.
Yeah, and I suppose it would have been around the Christmas period for them as well.
Yeah.
Which would have had an impact if you found out your game was hacked around Christmas.
So what ended up happening was, they're putting in this class action lawsuit, and we've talked about class action lawsuits before, but pretty much it doesn't mean that you're going to, anything's really going to come from it, but everyone could see a small sort of compensation. It could come down to where the law firm is the one that makes out, really. They make money from it.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get something from it for going through the hassle of doing it. And then everyone might get a small compensation if they feel like they need it or something. So it could be something as small as here's $5 for, what you had to go through, or here's in-game currency or a free item inside of it, that. Whatever they agree on. If they were to win for, doing that, which I mean...
And usually with these things, they don't even go to court sometimes when you're dealing with really big companies.
No.
Sometimes they just go, here's your payout.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They'll be like, instead of going to court and figure it, here's a payout of, we'll give the law firm $100,000 and then we'll put out, everyone will give them an apology and then we'll give them a free hat. I don't know.
It's because there is 100 class members involved in the lawsuit at the moment. So, just cause. So I think Epic will just be like, okay, here's a couple of
instead of
100,000, spread it out between 100 people.
Yeah, class action lawsuits actually are quite frequent, you know what I mean? So.
And here's, premium battle pass for a year.
Yeah.
In Fortnite. Go play our game.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to give you the battle pass for a year.
No, they'll give it for you for a quarter.
Maybe they'll give it to you for the one season.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. That's what I was going to say, a quarter, 4 months.
So yeah, blah, 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 blah. We were made aware of the vulnerability. This is, according to what Epic Games said when it happened in 2019. When they discovered it in November 2018 and then finally acknowledged it in 2019 January. We were made aware of the vulnerabilities and they were soon addressed. We thank Checkpoint for bringing this to our attention. As always, we encourage players to protect their accounts by not reusing passwords and using strong passwords and not sharing account information with others. However, Checkpoint's report details an exploit that couldn't have been avoided by constant password changes. So basically, there's no way that there was something that was there, a flaw that no matter what you did to try and prevent it,
it was still going to be there.
It still could have happened. Just they haven't said whether or not anybody was actually affected by it. Could have been, but more than likely, probably not. Someone doing routine checkups could have found that, when it comes to security, no one else might not have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they don't have that sort of.
It could have just been random Joe going through. Okay, what domain sites do we actually still have up?
Yeah.
And just going through and seeing the Unreal Tournament one from 2004 and being oh wait. Oh no.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a huge deal. It's just we're gonna see a class action lawsuit go forward. We'll see what happens. Probably nothing significant. You'll probably never hear about it again.
Yeah.
If me and Kyle were talking, and if you think that this is gonna do anything to tarnish Epic, then you're wrong. Especially not Fortnite. They made $3 billion last year?
$3 billion last year, and they're projected to make $4 billion this year.
So, good luck trying to shut them up because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen because they are our new overlords. All praise Epic Games.
They're putting out stuff that people enjoy. And speaking of that, there is one developer that put out stuff that people did enjoy, but now they're not enjoying it so much for a few issues. So in case you don't know, Apex Legends, probably one of the few Battle Royale type games that I actually enjoy.
Yeah, same.
I mean, I don't play it anymore, but I played it for a bit and I was like, you know what? I can get behind this because I like the class system. I like the powers that they have in there. Something that I kind of talked about a while back with some friends that's like, oh, you know what would be awesome is having a battle royale where you actually have powers and you have stuff that affects things. All of a sudden Apex comes out and it's like, oh it's actually
there you go.
Pretty cool. But Apex came out with, their game, or the Apex developers. What are the developers? The same people that do
Respawn.
Yeah, Respawn. There you go.
Creators of Titanfall.
Yep. Respawn Entertainment. So they, Apex came out. It's been, I would say, probably third or fourth most played BR out there right now.
Yeah, they say that daily they're still pulling in 8 to 10 million players on average.
Yeah, it had a severe drop in player base from launch because people went back to Fortnite because they like the building aspect. People, whatever. But it's
still holding a steady second, third place.
Yeah, for sure.
In comparison.
Well, what ended up happening was Respawn decided to, on their game Apex, wow. I got talking about Epic, and now all I can think about is
Respawn on their game Epic?
Yeah.
That's a plot twist.
Respawn on their game Apex Legends, they have they had cosmetic items that were put out for an Iron Crown event, right?
Yeah, it was a really big event in-game, if you didn't know. They added, a temporary solo mode and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
They added a solo
because
mode.
people have been asking for it.
They've been asking for it, but it's only temporary, but it's you can tell that they're just putting it out there. Like, here you go for the moment. We're still working on it, though.
Yeah.
Because they've noticed people are, teaming up in solo and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what's going on, and they just released a bunch of cosmetics with it, because why not? You can make money off this kind of stuff.
Now, the issue with that, though, was some of those cosmetics, well...
They cost a little bit too much money.
Yeah, they costed a lot. Like, something as much as one item costing $20, wasn't it?
One skin costs $20.
Now, real quick, before we go into further than this and say whether this is right or wrong, I just want to point out that, yes, I mean, at least, it was a lot of money, right? That is a lot of money for a skin. At least you're guaranteed that skin, though. Yeah,
they weren't doing packs. It was like, if you want this skin, you just buy it.
Yeah.
We're not going to make you spend more or less $20 anyways on packs.
Yeah, to try and hopefully have a chance to get it. Like, for these ones, you just pay the money and you'll get it.
Yeah. I like to think of it that they're probably looked at and went, we could do a pack, and every $20 spent, they get the skin, or we can just release the skin for $20.
Yeah.
And just be upfront with it and be like, money.
Yeah. And, I'm not saying that it was right for them to release it for $20. I don't think it's a good thing.
No.
But it's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that's like, if you want to buy it for $20, at least they're upfront. You can get it or you cannot get it.
They were upfront with it, and it's completely optional. You don't have to get it.
Yeah. And it doesn't make you feel like you need it because you want a chance at getting that. So it's not like you're getting these loot boxes and so it's like, yeah. So that we'll just say, I think we're both in agreement that it's not. It wasn't good, but it wasn't
not good,
terrible.
Not terrible. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was. Well, quite a few people were upset that they were charging so much for the cosmetics because they were saying that it was not fair. It made it so you're kind of spitting in the face of your consumers because you're charging so much for who cares that you're free to play? You're charging so much for an in-game item. You don't care enough about this, blah 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 blah. So Apex ended up saying, all right, they pulled it. They're changing the dynamics of it, and they're saying, oh, we're sorry for that. We're gonna change how it works. You're not gonna have to pay $20 anymore.
Yeah, but it was more so after they got a barrage of attacks. Well, it wasn't just a case that there was some sensible people going not cool, Respawn, $20 for a skin is a bit much. But then there was the people who were just flipping them off and saying, screw you.
Right, and so
that kind of forced them to reflect and look at it.
Yeah, and once they did, they were like, all right, we're going to update it. So they ended up updating it, changing it, and then they went on to Reddit to talk to people and say, listen, we thought about it. This is the reason why we did it. We're sorry, but this is the change to it. And what ended up coming from that is a bunch of, well, we all know how Reddit is, for one.
Yeah.
And we all know how gamers are, for two. Now, the gamers on Reddit are some of the worst people. I mean, you can't look at Reddit as what all gamers are like, because realistically, Reddit people in general, with that anonymity and stuff that they have, they're assholes. I mean, it's a forum where you can talk about it. People in general are, but once you get them into...
Unless you're in a subreddit that's specifically supposed to be nice, you're not going to find nice people.
No, and so what ended up happening is, rightly there was people that were, upset by it, that they did that in the first place. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. You're allowed to say, hey, I don't like what you did. I'm not going to support you anymore. That's it. Now, what ended up happening, though, is there was a lot of vitriolic comments posted, and, me and Kyle will give, like, a quick rundown of one, that was pretty intense that ended up being said. So we had, this is kind of what kickstarted this whole next issue that happened right after the issue with the skins. And it was, someone commented and said, or posted on the Reddit page and said, $20 is a lot better than gambling with the crown packs. They listened, they heard, and hopefully the next event will be improved. At least they're communicating with us. Probably why they didn't respond so quickly, because of so much backlash. I like Respawn. I respect them. Thanks for the update. One of the devs responded and was saying, we're not going to engage with people that have temper tantrums or personal attacks. What was it? He said, I remember, I've been in the industry long enough. I remember when players weren't complete asshats to developers, and it was pretty neat. So when you're looking at that, you can see that the guy's saying, I remember when, people weren't complete assholes to developers and they wanted to work with them.
Yeah, we could sit down and have a civil conversation with them. Because he then goes on to say that he forged a lot of long-lasting friendships back then. Which is like,
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of wholesome, so
and that is wholesome. And like, yes, he did, say something about asshats and whatever. So he kind of insulted a little bit to people, but he was more saying, I remember when people were better.
Yeah.
Well, you had another person that ended up responding right after that took major offense to that and said, oh, well, I guess you can also remember when developers weren't money grabbing Fs. that scam their players too. Free to play, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't give you any right to charge $20 for a skin. You should be setting the tone for other companies to follow and stop effing your player base who commit their time to play your game. Went on to release or say a whole paragraph just shitting on Respawn, shitting on that guy, and just being way too intense about something that he didn't have to be a part of.
Oh yeah, like he could have met his point. I see his point in his comment.
Yes.
Get what he's trying to say, but he's way too passionate about it, let's say.
Well, passionate is one thing.
Yeah.
But being an asshole to somebody or like to them in general.
Yeah. It's like the Respawn dev gave a very nice response, I think.
Said one thing that was...
He said one word.
Maybe a little questionable. Maybe he shouldn't have called, certain people asshats.
He didn't even call certain people asshats.
No.
He just said, I remember when people weren't asshats to developers. He wasn't singling out a specific person or anything. And then this guy just comes and is like, you know what, screw you and your company. I'm never dealing with you guys again.
You guys are pieces of crap.
Yeah.
No, if you had just said what you just said, be fine. But he decided instead to call them all, piece of shit. Pretty much said, I hope anything that you guys release dies as quickly as this did. Everything dies that you're working on. Was just super vitriolic, right? So then the Respawn dev came out and responded to that and said, hey everyone, found the dick I was talking about. Guess what? I didn't even read your comment except for the first sentence and the last. This kind of garbage doesn't warrant a reply, but lucky for you, I already made a comment about this earlier. Go find it. And so, people were saying, oh, he called him a dick now, so now he's terrible because he's talking to the consumer like that. Even though they're completely ignoring the fact that the consumer responded by saying, you're a piece of shit, the whole company's a piece of shit, get off your high horse, even though I don't remember the guy saying anything about being on a high horse. He just was literally talking about how...
If anything, he was taking himself off a high horse. He was going, yeah, we're changing everything we did.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. The attacks forced us to look in a mirror. And we're going to change it now, so good job, guys.
I think
so there was no high horse involved. No. If anything, the high horse was kind of stabbed, gut, and eaten at that point.
and then everybody freaks out because this guy said something about asshats in one comment and said something about that guy being a dick, which he was being a dick.
Oh, 100% being a dick.
Whether or not the Respawn dev needed to say outright that the guy was a dick in a comment, maybe he should have thought better.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Should he have called him a dick? Probably not. No. Is he justified in doing it, though? Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I mean, I won't even say kinda. I'd say 100%. The guy was being a dick. He called him a dick. He shouldn't have done it, but it was justified that he did.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I don't want to keep beating the dead horse here when it comes to gamers and like how they are, but this is my issue is you have these people that, okay, Respawn admitted that they did something wrong, despite whether they did it because they didn't want bad will and they didn't want people to leave the game. Fine. They admitted they did something wrong. They said they're going to change it.
Still better than most companies in that situation. When faced with that backlash, most companies would just left it until the event is over, but they went and changed it.
Yes. And let's just say that, you know, they deserved to get some shit of people saying, we're not playing this anymore, we're not buying stuff anymore, we're done with it. Fine. People can say that. That's fine for you to do that.
Yeah.
What's not okay...
It's still a bit of an overreaction, I think, but
what's not What's not okay, though, is when you go on there and you start saying, I hope all your stuff fails, you're a piece of shit, everything that you do is a piece of shit, you're on a high horse, you're an asshole, blah, 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 blah. And then, when someone responds back and says, you're a dick, for you to get upset by that, so you're upset by that. It's like how we talked about last week with the developers that were getting death threats and stuff like that. And then when they came out and said,
called them toxic.
You people are toxic, and they're like, oh,
how dare you?
My jimmies are rustled. You called me toxic.
I was gonna say that. It's like, he rips into them. He rips into, not even just Respawn. This specific dev.
Yes.
Because it's just one guy. This isn't...
One dev that's probably been responding to these comments and for all day.
This entire time.
And is getting pretty much told... I would guarantee if we went through all of it, we would find at least 5 comments of him telling him to kill himself or to find a new job or that he's a piece of shit.
Probably, more than likely. And then he is hearing all of this and then is told that he hopes the game that he's probably putting a lot of his life into... He's probably a Respawn dev that works specifically on Apex.
Right.
Is told, oh, I hope it dies. You know? Of course he's gonna call you a dick. It's like, if anything, that's going easy on them. Like, imagine if it was you. If someone came up to you and was like, you know what? I hope the podcast just fails and crumbles like everything you touch.
Because you said that gamers are toxic.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get, listen, everyone's gonna get that that's a creator. You're gonna get trolls. You're gonna get assholes, you're gonna get people that want to disrespect your stuff.
But it's entered a whole new league recently.
And you're gonna get that stuff, and yes, you have to have a thick skin. But the thing is people need to stop. I'm tired of people thinking that they need to just shut up and get punched in the face.
Yeah, just, you listen to what we say and you don't say anything back, you just say, okay.
No. The fact of the matter is if you're going to be an unreasonable asshole, then you're gonna have someone be unreasonable back towards you despite that. And you know what? If you don't want to buy their stuff afterwards, fine, that's what you want to feel like, whatever. But you have to at least acknowledge where you did wrong as a person commenting and telling someone that all their stuff needs to fail and that they're a piece of shit.
Yeah. So the guy goes on to edit his original statement, saying that he didn't mean to be as disrespectful, but then in the same breath goes, but I still meant every word that I said.
Yeah.
That completely voids you saying you didn't want to be as disrespectful as you were when you said you mean all of it, dude.
The thing is nothing happens to the consumer that decides to be a garbage, right? To be a piece of garbage. Nothing happens to him. At the end of the day, no matter what he says, whether it be kill yourself or it be, all your stuff needs to fail, nothing will happen to him. What happens to that dev who ends up saying you're a dick for saying that is he can lose everything.
Literally.
They can lose everything from it, but it's considered that's fair and just? No. There's something that needs to change with that. And I mean, okay, on to the next part of that. Because of what happened, Respawn's CEO ended up coming out and saying, we apologize for, a couple members of the development team referring to some Apex Legends players as freeloaders and one person being called a dick. They came out and Vince Zampella released this tweet. On Friday, we gave Apex fans an update on how we were changing the Iron Crown event. Some of the team then joined a discussion with our community on Reddit, and things got to a pretty bad place. Some of our folks crossed the line with their comments, and that's not how we want Respawn to be represented. I apologize to any of our fans that were offended, I will always stand behind the team here at Respawn and support them on speaking out against some of the toxic and nasty comments being directed at them, including everything from death threats to comments aimed at their family and loved ones. But we shouldn't contribute to it when we do comment, and we add to the very thing we prevent. We need to lead by example. Last week we didn't do that, and going forward we will be better. Having an open and healthy relationship with our community is incredibly important to all of us here at Respawn. Now, you know, you have a couple retweets that are tweets that are going out. Some of them saying, "Oh, you're garbage." Some of them are saying, you know, "Oh, you're totally right."
Yeah, some are like, the top one there is like, "Don't apologize for your employees standing up for themselves against awful people." And then the one right after is, "That's it, your employee should be fired."
This is the thing is, yes, the company should be held accountable because they made a good point. They should have the right to speak out against toxic and nasty comments. And they should say that. Should they have called someone a dick, an asshat, and freeloader? No. And you need to talk to people and tell them that needs to be changed and that they can say, "Hey, we're not going to respond to you because you're being really rude to us."
Be smarter about it.
They were totally justified in saying it, though. They say it right there. Justified in saying it, but they need to be better. Yeah. And you're right. You do need to be better than the toxic people that come at you. And the thing is this is what I want everyone to look at. And I think this is my final point on this subject is hold everybody responsible and accountable for what they say. If you want to hold the developers to a certain standard and saying, "Oh, you can't call people dicks. You can't say you can't say they're freeloaders. You can't be an asshole in this regard." Then
you should hold yourself to the same account.
Then you should hold yourself and say, "I shouldn't tell this guy to kill himself. I shouldn't tell him how all of his stuff should fail. I shouldn't be a jerk to him."
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny as well, though. He called him a freeloader, a dick, and an asshat, and that's been treated like it's
the worst crime. Yeah, the worst crime. And it wasn't just one guy. It was like two or three that had split up over multiple comments. So it wasn't like this one guy was just an asshole.
It was spread out
by only a couple people that all, you know.
Now imagine those people, you're getting it from them, and then you're getting death threats towards yourself. Your family's getting death threats. People are saying terrible things about your family and your loved ones. And about everything that could possibly be connected to you. They're saying the worst possible things you could say. And you hit that line and you call someone a dick because you're just probably been
frustrated.
You've been doing this for 7 hours now.
And your family's been threatened at least 6 times. You know what I mean? Like,
so you call the guy who lashes out last a dick. It's like, that dude shouldn't be punished, I think. That employee, I don't think, should be punished.
He needs to be told
he should be like,
to handle it better.
You shouldn't have done that, but we're not going to do anything to you. We're just going to kind of tell you not to.
Handle it better. If it happens again, fine, but handle it better and learn to... it comes down to this. We need to teach people that this is not the right thing to react to when things don't go their way, but at the same time, we still need to kind of get people prepared to have thicker skin because there's always going to be trolls out there.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people that like to see other people get upset over what they say. And we have to learn to find a balance where we teach people, like, okay, if you're commenting on stuff and saying kill yourself, then you don't deserve to post anymore. Take away their posting privileges. But at the same time, if, you know, they're being hypercritical and maybe just a little bit rude, then we need to learn to be like, all right, we can accept that. Let's move forward.
Yeah. Be like, right, I get what you're saying. Been a little bit too much with that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna respond to you because of how you were saying it, but if you can approach me in a that's as simple as what I would have said. I'm not gonna respond to what you're saying. If you can ask me this question or you can talk to me in a way that's respectful for everyone, then I'll take into what you said into consideration. Until then, I don't care.
Yeah.
So there's that, I guess, and promise that maybe next week we won't have more to talk about toxic gamers.
Hopefully, but I highly doubt it.
Jumping right into the next topic here. Subnautica. Have you ever played that?
I have.
It's a fun game.
Pretty fun game.
It's a little spooky.
A little?
Just because of the water and all the stuff like this.
I suppose if you find the water spooky.
And it's at night, you know, and they have like little creepy aliens and stuff. Little creepy alien fish swimming around. I don't know, it's got like a little weird vibe to it.
I suppose when you get to like the depths of the game, it gets pretty creepy.
Right. Well, apparently the Subnautica dev, Unknown Worlds, went out and said, hey, G2A. Remember G2A? Oh, everyone remembers G2A.
Don't get me started.
Hey, G2A. $30,000 in stolen Natural Selection 2 keys happened back in the day in 2013, and you guys said that you would pay 10 times the amount if we could, if like we had proof that happened. So, hey, you owe us $300,000.
Just like, that was so satisfying to hear when I seen that they're calling out for 300k.
Yeah, 300,000. It's like, ooh.
Ooh, that's
a lot too.
That stings.
Well, G2A ended up giving them a rebuttal and saying, hey, idiots, we didn't exist back in 2013 when those chargebacks were made. And what ended up happening was Unknown World's founder, Charlie Cleveland, was kind of like,
all right,
backed up. He's like, oh, okay, it appears G2A is right. They weren't the source of these original 30,000 keys. It doesn't look like they were selling gray market keys at the time we had those chargebacks, but they've been doing it ever since. So he backed down, and everyone was kind of like, oh, you backed down. He wasn't right. Maybe there's, some...
People are kind of like, oh, maybe there's something you could do.
Yeah, but it sounds like G2A is just like trying to be slandered right now. But apparently a bunch of like Reddit users and some other news sites and stuff like that were like, well, technically G2A could have lied about some of their archive dates. Because apparently the firm itself, G2A itself, says it was founded in 2010, 3 years before these claims were made.
Yeah.
And according to its own support page, they kicked off the online marketplace in 2013.
Which is the year these claims have been made in.
Oh, and you're telling me that when the marketplace was pushed out, a bunch of keys potentially were stolen around the same time? That sounds, I don't know, a little suspicious.
A little convenient, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think this is just kind of like, I don't know. People are kind of looking at it and saying, the guy should have stuck to his guns and should have done a little bit more research, because it actually is definitely possible that G2A could have done this.
There is 100% an argument there.
Yeah, I mean, well, also, you have to think that that's just when the marketplace was put up.
Yeah.
And that was like the gray market. But G2A could have still been doing something their own, taking keys and putting them up there.
Exactly.
If they were, well established by that.
It might not have been the G2A we have currently, but it could have been like beta G2A.
Exactly.
In that time period before they went full grey market, where they were
they were doing it themselves, and then that's kind of why they went grey market, is because it made it so they didn't have to take the brunt if anything came out with them taking keys. So it's, I don't know, I think this was just like a little short story that we wanted to bring up, because it related to G2A, but it really shows you that, that G2A is willing to say whatever it is to save face, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, clear as day, that they probably had something to do with it, just because of the time frames that they said, even though they're lying about the time frames and saying that they weren't, it wasn't out by then, even though they said themselves on their page it was.
Yeah, it's like, that wasn't us, that was G2A and a fancy mustache.
Right.
Can't be us.
And apparently, Cleveland, the head dude of Unknown Worlds, even though he took back his claim, he still said that it doesn't matter whether they did it or not. I don't like their business model, and they do shitty things.
Yeah.
I think he should have maybe done a little bit more research and made sure he had all the facts together before he started accusing them, because then it kind of took away like that sort of
any leverage that his argument kind of had,
and kind of made it look like he was just being an asshole and just trying to say shit,
even though he more than likely wasn't.
It's still just, it comes out that way. And I mean, a bunch of Redditors came out and were like, oh no, he definitely could have been right. Look at these time frames. Yeah. Look at this.
And no matter what way you look at it, be it G2A or somewhere else, they still have the numbers that said they've lost 30k. No matter what way it is, it's still the overall market that G2A have made.
Yeah, on chargebacks. 30k. Yeah, which I mean, maybe all of that wasn't attributed to G2A, but
let's say a large majority of it
let's
was
say, come
here.
on, like, where are you going to have the chargebacks?
Come on, people.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just thought we'd bring that up and give a little, touch base with where G2A is at.
Yeah, because we check in with them every now and again.
Make sure that they're doing okay. Make sure that
they're getting along fine.
They're thriving.
They're eating enough. They're getting enough sleep,
But from one shitty company to
I don't know if it's Could you call it a shitty company?
No, to a shitty person making bad deals, I guess. We'll go with that.
So, good old Donald Trump.
Yeah, Mr. DT.
President of the United States of America, leader of the free world, imposer of tariffs.
Yeah, he loves them. Even though
he loves them.
Yeah, he loves them because it just makes other countries suffer, and definitely not the American people.
Oh yeah, totally. So the proposed 25% tariff against video games and tabletop industries that he plans to implement.
That we had talked about a little bit before.
Yeah, we discussed briefly before. But it's now been delayed.
Oh, why is that, Kyle? Is he deciding that he might change his mind and make it so there's no more tariffs, stupid tariffs that will do nothing except for hurt the consumer?
Oh god, no. No. He's postponing it until December 15th, which is 3 months later than planned, which was supposed to be in September 1st. Because he just wanted to interfere with the Christmas market.
And you know what this is, right? I mean, like, he's saying he doesn't want to, he doesn't want seasoned shoppers to feel like they're getting hurt by that. Well, that tells you three things. One,
he knows it's going to hurt people.
he knows it's going to hurt people. He knows that people will be affected by it at some point. Which, why still do it then? Yeah. You're not going to get any sort of leverage off of anything off that. Why are you imposing something that you know is going to hurt the consumer? Alright? The second thing is, he knows that if he does it during the holiday season, that the US is going to lose a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Because then, during the busiest time of the year where they sell the most things, they're going to have a percentage of stuff not being sold.
And it's more likely to lead to backlash as well.
Yeah, and then that leads to the third thing, which is that'll make his numbers look bad when the figures come out and say, oh, the US only made this much money this year, so that means the tariffs were bad. And he doesn't want that to happen. So now, to save face and try to make things look a little bit better, because look at this. December 5th, or 15th, that's literally almost the end of the year. So you're cutting out that
the entire last quarter.
Just so you don't look bad for the entire last quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, great idea. And then you release it on December 15th, and then next year, once the person takes over, at the end of the year, once we have, the new president, just say that it's his fault once all of the sales and stuff have been bad until he reduces or takes away the tariffs.
Yeah.
Because it's easy enough to just be like, oh, see, he was a bad president because look at what he's done so far. He's only been in the office for a month, and look at how his sales were.
Look at the holiday season when I was president. It was great. It's like, yeah, because he didn't have the tariffs.
Yeah, exactly. So dumb. It's dumb. So the new date places the tariffs deadline after Black Friday because it originally was September 1st, right? Yeah. Yeah. 25% proposed tariff. I'm hoping that they take this away and get rid of it because it's already been said by a couple manufacturers now and stuff like that. Like Sony has declared that consumers will eat the cost.
Yeah, and others might not have said it, but that's what it's going to be like.
That's what they've implied, at least.
Sony, Microsoft, anything like for games consoles or tech companies, you're going to see a price bump across the board and everything. Yeah,
because, they can't, and this is the thing is, they can't eat the cost because they already don't make money on a lot of their hardware.
It's the stuff they sell for the hardware that makes their money, as we've said so many times before when we talked about the next generation of consoles.
And think about it like this. The tabletop and board games and stuff like that as well. This is going to be a huge blow to them because, for one, it's already so niche, right?
Yeah.
But more people have been getting into it. But the intro cost is so expensive already. You get a lot of good stuff for it, but
it's an investment.
$9,900 for a board game that you're investing into, right? And then you could get other things to it, like other pieces and stuff like that as well. You spend $100, well, a 25% tariff, that could mean more than just a 25% price increase because that's just the tariff against it.
Yeah, it's just flat.
Yes, that's what they have to pay, to get the stuff imported and stuff like that, and not to mention everything else when it comes to the cost.
What you'll see is a 25%
or more at
price
least
increase minimum.
Yes, that's
going to be
minimum
25%. You're probably going to be looking at 30-40%.
So instead of paying $100 for that that board game, or you're paying $60 for that video game.
You're looking at like nearly $150 and $100.
Yeah. Or, I mean, I would say at worst, yeah. I mean, but
like worst case scenario.
Even medium, like, you know, even looking at the middle ground, that's like $70, $75 for a video game. And that's $125 for something that people already didn't want to do $100, but they could justify.
Exactly.
Now you're going past $99, $100, and you're going...
And then you look at next year with the next generation of consoles coming, like we mentioned in one of the past podcasts, if it's, you know, around $400 for the next generation of console, and the tariff goes through, you're going to be looking at
$450 to $500.
You're going to be looking at like around $500 for the console.
Nuts. And
which is
the thing is that won't benefit. This is what it is.
That won't help anyone.
It won't benefit the consumer, and it won't benefit the manufacturer, and it won't benefit the company that's putting out their product.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons, this is a bad idea. Tariffs have never helped anybody except for in very, 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 very niche cases.
Yeah, and it's usually when like your country's in a severe recession. Like you'll put tariffs on stuff to try to like bump up your income if your market's been flooded with stuff, or, you know,
and
very specific things. Like if the economy is struggling due to the dilution of a market with poor quality goods, you'll put the tariffs up to prevent those poor quality goods going in, so only the high quality ones that can afford it get in. And
but you don't put it on things that people are already going to consistently buy and that are, you know, of certain standards, just because you're trying to strong arm somebody to give you better deals when you're already looking at, you know, what it's going to be. Like at this point in time, China isn't going to give a shit about 25% tariffs that they're either going to be like, all right, well then we'll just charge more and we'll pay it and it won't be a deal, and then you'll just constantly be paying more money, or we just won't sell to you as much and we'll sell to other people, and then you have to buy it from the other people, which they're going to inflate the price because they want to make money now. So you're gaining nothing. This gains nothing for anybody, and if this stuff goes through for any of the stuff, because everyone has to remember, this isn't just video game and tabletop. That's just part of what's on there. This is a ton of things that are going into it. A lot of them hobby things, a lot of them like stuff that you use every day.
Like heavy duty imported stuff, you know, as a whole. 95% of all technological hardware, pretty much.
Yeah,
from game consoles and tabletop stuff,
imported.
But like computers and microchips.
Yeah, that's all imported
like
from
small
China.
Things like that you don't really realize are imported from other countries, from China, is going to be affected. So you're looking at anything that is produced in America that he's trying to encourage, and with these tariffs possibly try to encourage it more, isn't going to work, because these companies will then have to set up new factories and new production lines in America to compensate for it, because they're not going to be able to import them from other countries because it's going to cost too much. But they can't do that because that would cost even more.
Well,
so the only thing they'd resort to is leaving America.
A lot of exactly, and then they leave America to a different country, which they've already talked about, to try and get stuff. So then they go to Taiwan.
Then they go to Taiwan, or they
which
come
is cheaper quality.
Yeah, or they come to Europe to set up their headquarters instead and just base everything out of European countries.
And so you either spend more, or you spend more, or you get less, or you spend the same amount and get less good quality.
Yeah.
And you make out in no way whatsoever. At the end of the day, this is gonna benefit no one. You cannot create a factory for a reasonable amount of money in the States for some of these products. It just won't happen. We don't have all of the...
You don't have the materials or the workforce.
No, the materials are not easily resourced in the States for a lot of those things.
Yeah.
When it comes to like
what's your silicon production like in the States?
Exactly. I mean, there's only so much that can be produced there, and then to have all this stuff start up, and then to have the people work there for a reasonable price.
Yeah.
No matter what, whether you have stuff created in the States and it makes jobs or whatever, but then you're gonna have a downplay of
wage.
Yeah, you're gonna have a downward trend of people buying that stuff because the prices are going up. I'm all for bringing jobs to the economy, but we have to do it in a smart way. Don't do it by forcing people to either listen to you or don't sell to you. Do it in a way where you say, all right, here is what we get from China. We're also going to have our own product, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and give you reasons of why you could buy an American product. Yeah. But there's a reason why they don't do that, and it's because the American product, it's not worth what's happening from it. No. I'm sorry, labor is cheaper in other countries.
That's true.
Which is funny enough because you still get paid a pittance in the States compared to most places. Yeah. So, like...
But as well as that, thinking of it from taking people out of it and taking economy out of it, when you look at it a stocks-based way. So if you're trying to bring all these production companies into America and keep all these companies in America, what that would result in is an increase in the production of said item in a worldwide scale, which would then cause the value of said item to drop. Therefore, your investment in said item wouldn't be the return you got before it.
No.
So it's like, okay, they can sell these microchips for X amount. So if we start making it, we can sell them for X amount. No, because you've now increased the market
and the values decrease. And so now the value decreases, which means this is exactly what you're saying. So then we don't make money on the stuff that we're producing because we're only producing it for stuff related to the US because no one else needs to buy it, because either they would buy it from somewhere like China where they could either get it cheaper or the same price and it's closer.
Yeah.
Or they probably would end up getting cheaper because the US likes to have tariffs and other import taxes.
That's the thing. That's something China, I see them doing. If this goes through in the States, and it does start to go down that line in the next 12 months, I can very much see China dropping like prices on stuff by like 5-10%. A tiny bit.
They would lose nothing.
It's not like a major amount, but it's enough to make everyone around the world kind of go, oh, you're dropping your prices,
and
I
then,
see.
And then the US would gain nothing from it. They would lose monetary value. They would gain, I guess, the only positive you could see is that they would get, we'd have the jobs that go there. However, it would be, it probably wouldn't be good for good wages because they'd want to keep the costs down.
Yeah.
They would bring in material that's right in the US that they can use to create these electronics and these, these chips, these video games, these board games. Yes, they would have it there and it'd be available in the US. But when you look at it from the aspect of what we'd have to import in to get the material for it, if we don't all supply that as well, because people seem to forget America is so big that you can't just have one or two companies that are created and manufacturers and that's enough to supply it. A lot of the suppliers of a lot of material nowadays that are in the US don't have enough supply to even cover their own state.
No, because it's just too many people
that they're in to cover all that. That's why we import so much. It's not just because there's a lot of material we can't harvest in the States, but it's also because
there's just not enough.
There's not enough to cover it all. So what you're doing is you're going to be either taking that supply from other supplies of other things, which raises the price automatically because then those people can charge more, or you're just not going to have the supply for it, so then you're going to have to import those supplies from somewhere, and you're going to spend more money importing supplies to then create yourself, to then spend money on creating yourself, to then do that. So
it won't work.
And then
it just won't work.
It'll collapse on itself, and then those people that had jobs now have lost all their jobs because that's not a viable place anymore, and you just wasted everybody's time.
All you'll see is a decrease in money for a period of time, in which case all you'll probably hear from the government is, it'll turn around, you have to lose money to make money. Some time will pass, it won't start making money, and then it'll shut down, and suddenly there's just less money and now less jobs. So it would just be a flat decrease in everything.
and I mean, at the end of the day, too, the last thing that we want is shitty, you know what? Jobs are great, but
jobs.
But you provide nothing for anybody if you have a job where people are making a minimum wage, working like slaves, trying to manufacture stuff and not get, just so you can make sure you get the cost where you need to.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anybody. You think it does, but it's actually less beneficial than just actually creating jobs that are required in the economy that are necessary.
Exactly. That's why jobs are so great. You create jobs for the environment that you need.
Yes, exactly. So, long story short, if these tariffs go through, it's going to be terrible, but as it stands, we're definitely going to see them by December 15th of this year. Yeah. So,
thank God I live in Europe.
I mean, you guys have your own
we have our own
money and tax issues, especially Ireland right now, because come December, your guys' imports and exports are going to be kind of looking a little hazy as well. A little
touchy, but
at least with the UK.
Not as bad as yours, though.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
Your imports and exports of humans are going to be an issue.
That's the bigger problem. It's
Well-
like products, we can deal with that. There's so many countries around Europe to do that for us.
Maybe, I don't know.
But people-wise, it's like,
Yeah,
how are we gonna get to like England?
you're gonna lose a lot of money for grocery related things.
Yeah.
For anything related to like animal products and stuff like that going because
agricultural effects.
it's gonna be really heavy.
Oh yeah.
If you
Unless France steps in and like goes, we'll take it all, which I doubt, but it'd be nice of them to do that.
well, yeah, I'm sure that they can handle all of their own people as well as all of the UK's. Yeah, we'll see how that works.
Oh, goodness. But on to a lighter topic, a happier topic.
Pretty happy.
I'm pretty happy with this. The Resident Evil movies are getting a reboot.
Woo! According to a director that not many people know, because he hasn't done a lot of notable things, but one of his name popped up on something related to
Johan Roberts.
Yeah, popped up on something related to on IMBD related to a Resident Evil project. And his name was just attached to it. So people decided to reach out and say, what the hell is that?
Yeah, what's up?
And he went right out and said, we're in active development of that at the moment. I pitched them a take and they really loved it. So we are gearing up on that as we speak. Really. I'm in the office all the time here. So yeah, it's great. It's going to be super scary. It's super, super scary. And it's just getting back to the roots of the game. I think at the moment, I'm not really allowed to say much more than that, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So there's not a whole lot on this front of what's going to be in it.
That's literally all we know so far, because that's the only word we've gotten about it so far.
Is that there is something being worked on. We're going to need more confirmation, hopefully soon, that it's actually going to be in the works, like something a little bit more tangible. But like as it stands,
director saying it is a good sign, because when a director's saying it, it means the project is on a roll.
Yeah,
because usually it's the writers first, and then they hire in a director. So if the director's saying it's a good sign. But until a studio steps up and goes... Yeah,
we're going to help publish this.
A studio or Capcom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Resident Evil games.
But I don't know if Capcom would...
Well, they own the licensing, so they'd have a word.
But I don't know if they would fund for...
I think they would fund it, but they could confirm it. Their name would be attached on it.
They could say, yeah, this is fine. But he's really just pitching at this moment. Now, the reason, even though there's not a lot to say, the reason that we kind of want to talk about this real quick is we kind of just wanted to give what we would like to see when it came to it. Like what we're looking forward to seeing when it comes to Resident Evil movie. Now, how did you feel about the Resident Evil movies? I know that they were a decent hit, not the best rated, but people really enjoyed them otherwise. They made a lot of money anyways.
I think it was the first two I quite enjoyed. They've aged to their time period. You can tell the time period they're from.
They're really hard to look at nowadays.
Yeah, but like some of the stuff in them is pretty good. Like I'm pretty sure it was Resident Evil, the gif that's always used of the soldiers in the lobby. The elevator doors open and all the monsters rush out at them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was from Resident Evil, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
See,
it's like that looked good, and then the whole like laser
the lasers, the laser
all
corridor
that kind of stuff.
It was all awesome stuff.
It.
My issue is...
that came after that were like...
Yeah. My issue with the movies is the movies were okay for what they were, but they weren't Resident Evil to me. And like they had nothing really to do with Resident Evil except for using some of the names and some of the characters and monsters. But even they weren't all used in proper ways.
Yeah, like I think it was the last one was like Afterlife or something like that, where they're in a prison or something. And Mila Jokovich's character is like in like a bathroom or something. And the freaking axe guy from Resident Evil 5 just burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. And it's like, why are you here? Why do you look like this? This makes no sense.
The thing that bothers me is that, I think because Resident Evil started to get more into like the weird aspect and the mutations of things even more so as the games went further on, which were already to me kind of like, oh, I hate when they like these guys turn into big monsters, but I get it because it's like a bioweapon, they're turning into bioweapon, fine.
Yeah, but it's done right, it's fine.
But in the movies, like it started to go from like, oh, they have these powers now, they have these crazy powers, and it influenced the games because they saw how people were like, oh, that's cool. And it influenced the games and made it so some of the games were like, oh yeah, like they have powers because one time one guy got like strong abilities from it, but we'll neglect the part where, you know, yes, he had strong abilities, but then he turns into a monster because it overloads the system and all this stuff. So
the movies is the reason we got Resident Evil 6, which was just a mess.
I mean, and Resident Evil 5, good multiplayer game. I like it as it was, like for what it was, but
Still
then it started.
problems.
Yes, it was going into this action territory that was it was much too much action and not enough story and puzzles and horror.
When you got to the point where you were in a volcano fighting giant monster Rexer. Yeah. Wesker. And you're just buff-ass Chris Redfield literally punching a boulder.
I mean, like, I love that game and I've played through it 3 times, but it's not a good Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
I would say. It's just, it's a fun game to play, but it's not good. And like, yeah, when I first played it, there's a couple parts that I was like, ah! like screaming at, but like, it wasn't a horror game. It wasn't
scary.
It wasn't like what you'd expect from Resident Evil.
Yeah. Like, Resident Evil 4 was creepy as hell.
Yeah.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies.
So as we're going into, you know, coming into this movie, and he's saying that this director is saying that he wants to make it super scary and get back to the roots of the game. I'm hoping what that means is that they don't have to have a direct adaptation of the game. I don't think that's required for a movie to be good.
No,
but
not at all.
If you're going to use characters and settings and stuff,
it should be.
Make it as close as you can, and if you want to have a different story related to it, that's fine, but don't kind of copy the story, but not copy it whatsoever, and use characters in ways that makes no sense, because not only do you confuse the audience that knows both of them, but you also confuse the audience that maybe wants to get into the games after watching the movies, and then they go, this is nothing like what I expected.
Like, use set pieces from the games if you're going to have a somewhat original story, and make it work. So say they remake it, and they're going to take stuff from Resident Evil 1. So you could have our characters doing stuff, you know, whatever, and then it leads them to this mansion in the woods.
Yeah.
That they have to go into for their, like, the final act is all based in this mansion that's full of zombies. That'd be like, oh, that's a nice little homage to the first game.
Yeah, you gotta have it make sense.
Instead of going, okay, here's the axe guy from Resident Evil 5 bursting through the wall of a prison.
Here's a couple characters that you see, like, you know, oh, here's a licker. You see him, and you're like, oh, it's a licker. Inside of a weird place, it makes no sense, there's no context, they're just there.
Just have, like, and even, like, smaller beats could work really well. Like, oh, you have your characters walking through a nondescript hallway. You know, the newer Resident Evil movies would have completely random enemy burst out. You'd have the frickin' chainsaw guy from Resident Evil 4 flop through the window.
Yeah.
Or kick through the wall, or come through a door. Instead, you know, go like, oh, we'll have the dogs jump through the window. Like they did in the original.
Yeah. Have
little things like that.
Have stuff that makes sense, and make it so the horror aspect
is the forefront.
And not action.
Not action. Horror.
Action is not what Resident Evil is. It didn't become that until later. So don't make it... It was never the forefront of it. It was always a mechanic of it.
Yeah.
I remember playing, you know, the first few Resident Evils and being like, you never wanted to fight because it was horrendous for one with the mechanics, but also you're like, I gotta run, I gotta go away, I gotta do this, I gotta try and kill him, but and then when you like, they made the action cool because later on, then you would get something that was like, oh, I can finally fight back. Okay,
yeah, it's like, oh, I can actually do this.
I can finally do something,
which made that kind of fight back feel so justified and just empowering because throughout the entire time you felt like you were the prey. And then suddenly there's this turn and suddenly you're not the prey anymore. You can fight back.
Yeah, and if you're going to have action be a part of it, then you have to make it so that it's still got the scary sort of like and the story's got to be just as important as the action.
Yeah.
The action will work if you make the story just as interesting.
The story is crucial.
And I'm saying this for the games as well. For the next games that they make you know, Resident Evil 8 or whatever, like,
which I have high hopes for.
If they're gonna bring these back, you have to. Resident Evil was always story. And like Resident Evil 7 was really, really good, and the story aspect was good. The action was, you know, maybe a little too much at points, but the story kind of made it still feel okay.
But the action payoffs I felt like in 7/Biohazard was really good. That the start of the game, you played the first quarter of it, so pretty much running away from everything.
Exactly.
And then you got to a point where it's like, oh, I'm getting guns now.
And even then,
you get a pistol and you get a shotgun. And
the guns weren't absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
They felt like the ammo was less. You felt like
you got the weapon, defeat the boss. It's like, this is great. Defeat the boss, you feel victorious. You go to the next area and get ready to face the next one, and suddenly this weapon isn't enough anymore.
It was a good Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a movie be like, if a movie comes out, it's proof that you can have a current game or movie come out with those sort of old styles of like, have a good story, make it really spooky, have some action in it.
Yeah.
Those people want to see that, especially nowadays. They're nostalgic for it.
Yeah.
Don't feed into the nostalgia and make it, too ridiculous, but you want to play off of that and make it smart. Yeah. And that's what's going to make Resident Evil, this movie that hopefully will be coming out, a really good movie.
Yeah. I've got 3 things that I think they could look at to make it work. So I think they should look at movies like, I don't know if you've seen The Witch.
The Witch, no, I have not.
I haven't seen The Witch. Really good horror movie. Really good. It's creepy, simple, effective. And then there's a movie called The Village. I don't know if you've seen that one either.
Nope.
Where it's pretty much like these people, they live in a village and there's this monster that pretty much comes out every other night and supposedly attacks people and kills them, and it's really creepy because you're seeing all of this through the perspective of a girl who's, I'm pretty sure she's blind. So she's never been able to see the monster, so she doesn't have a really direct fear of it like everyone else. So it's this big whole thing, they do sacrifices, and it's really creepy.
Ugh. Sounds like Outlast 2.
Yeah, but it's got this vibe to it where our normal characters are just having a conversation about something not related to the monster, but you feel uneasy. Because you're like, okay, at any moment, shit could go sideways.
Yeah.
And we don't see it coming. That kind of sinking feeling in your stomach. I think that'd be a really good vibe to get. And then as for the horror, there's 2 things they should look at. The first season of The Walking Dead. I think the first season of The Walking Dead made zombies feel intimidating.
Yes.
That when you've seen 3 or 4 of them stumbling towards you, you're like, oh, you kind of tensed up a little bit.
Because it wasn't like, you didn't need whole hordes immediately to be like, I'm scared.
Because it's one guy and there's 3 of them immediately outnumbered. Doesn't matter. Yeah. That's a bad thing.
Because zombies are zombies. They may be stupid. They may but that's the thing about them is that they're really strong and they don't give a shit.
Exactly. And if you think about it, say they go with the cliche of having a group of soldiers faced with zombies would have a hard time because they're trained to aim for center mass, their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly having to aim for the head would just be difficult for them. That'd be scary. And then there's just one scene from Resident Evil 1 that they should look at. And that's the first time you see a zombie. You go through the door, there's that frame where zombie turns
and turns his head and you see it. Yeah. You could have
that scene.
You could have a real good, if you're gonna have jump scares, you could have like a mix between where it's not necessarily a cheap jump scare. It's a good scare where it's like, you have that happen, it zooms, the head turns slowly.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a run. Like, you're expecting it because you know it's coming. But it's not like just a scream or whatever. Yeah. It's like
they have a string and they're pulling it and they're pulling it.
And then it's just boom.
And you're expecting them to pull it till it snaps naturally. But someone comes and cuts it early.
Yeah, and it's like an instant hit the ground running. Yeah. Instant hit the ground running, like the zombie starts moving towards you. It gets up. You know what I mean? And if you're, if you need to change it up a little bit, make it so like maybe it doesn't just shamble. It's more like, in the game, it's like, it's all this thing. And also then you see it, and it's just like, maybe have the character be close to it, and when it turns, it's like in the face, and it kind of like lurches forward.
Kind of like, I think it's in Resident Evil 7, in one of the tapes, where you go down into the basement, and the guy has his head jabbed onto the wall, and you walk right up to him. It's like if they did that, where it's like someone standing there, and it's the cliche of them going up to them, like, oh, are you okay? And having that slow turn, and then the snap to the quickness.
Yeah.
Make you pee your pants a little, I think.
Yeah, they can do a good job, and let's hope that they do.
I have high hopes.
Real quick on that subject, this is kind of just like off the wall. We kind of want to talk about because it came out just last night, and we want to give it a quick little discussion. Is Sony and Marvel having issues with their agreements on Spider-Man?
Yes, it's due to the profit divides. So, I'm not sure what the deal was initially. I don't know the numbers.
It was good enough for Sony to be like, please.
Some people are saying that Sony was in the majority on it, and by a vast amount.
Probably.
But I don't know that, so I can't really say. All I know is that Disney went to them and went, we want a 50-50 straight across split. We pay for half, you pay for half, then we get half, you get half. Sony didn't want that. They walked away from the table supposedly with no negotiation and came back and went, look, you can have 5% on the dollar. And of course Disney went, no.
Not when we are the ones that have made the Spider-Man series actually be good again.
Yeah. So, because of this, Kevin Feige is no longer executive producer on any upcoming Spider-Man movies, and Spider-Man can no longer be in MCU-related movies.
At this moment in time.
Until a deal is remade, that's it. It's set in stone. So that pretty much means no Spider-Man in future MCU movies, and in future Spider-Man movies, the MCU can't be mentioned.
Oh, and that'll be great. That'll make it so, all of the great stuff that we came up to in this last movie are just irrelevant, washed away, and then we'll have that terrible Sony charm where it's not good.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's going to have more of an impact than people might realize. There's more to the deal than just being in, MCU movies. Marvel pretty much took the helm on the creation of Spider-Man for the MCU. Tom Holland's Spider-Man was made by Marvel. They casted him. They had full control over it, pretty much. Sony picked small few things. Some of the writers, some of the assistant directors, but Kevin Feige and Marvel did most of it.
Right.
So with them gone, John Watts, the director, is staying the same. We don't know if the writing team is staying the same, and we know Tom Holland is staying. But they can't mention any MCU characters, obviously. But also, there's the possibility that suits that were made for the MCU cannot be used because technically they'd be MCU property.
Because they're the ones that created it.
Because it was Marvel's creation team that made them. Marvel could pull intellectual property rights on them. Which means they'd have to change his suits randomly. They wouldn't make any reference to anything that was cited in an MCU film. They couldn't reference.
So anything that happened in the past, they couldn't do it.
The bare bones story.
That's
it. They can mention that he fought Vulture, and they can mention that he fought Mysterio. But when it comes to characters outside of that, like Vulture's motives, gone. Because he was, stealing from Stark.
Yeah.
Mysterio's motives, hating
Gone.
Tony Stark, gone. Because Tony Stark can't be a thing. Spider-Man's whole stick with Tony Stark at the moment of, dealing with the loss of him, spoilers, gone. They can't talk about it. Flat. And they're saying that they're going to make at least 2 more movies.
Yeah, well, these movies are going to be shit if they don't. This is what it is. And it's coming down to always what it is. Sony being greedy about money. It's money issue, and right now it's Sony that's refusing. Disney, you can say whatever you want about, they accepted a small amount before, but it's because they wanted to see a property in their universe do good after it had been done bad so many times.
Yeah.
So they were willing to take anything to try and get in there and prove to Sony, look at what we can do.
Yeah.
Sony refuses to sell it back. They've countless times, they refused to sell it back. They refused to try and give the property back. They've refused, for the first 2 movies, they refused any help. Like, our first two series of movies.
Yeah.
So the, Garfield, Spider-Man and the
Raimi ones.
Yeah. Those ones, all the previous Spider-Man movies before Tom Holland they refused any help. They want nothing to do with it. They said, no, it's ours. We'll take care of it. It's going to be amazing. They all weren't good.
Yeah.
Like, overall, they weren't good. And so because they refused to sell back and they refused help, finally Marvel was like, listen, we only want a certain percentage of stuff.
Yeah,
we're taking a small amount. Please let us help you with this. We'll take over most of the creative aspects of it. We'll do most of the work on it. You guys can put your name and make it seem like it's you all you want, whatever.
All you have to do is sit back and make a profit.
Exactly. Let us do it, please. We want to see our product do good. And they said, okay, we'll do that. The minute that Disney's like, okay, look at these last movies that have had Spider-Man in it, how they've done, like, look how good that they're doing.
Spider-Man Far From Home at the moment has made $1.1 billion. It's the first Spider-Man movie ever to make $1 billion, and it's the highest grossing movie Sony has ever had their name on.
And it's literally like, look at how good we did. Hey, give us a 50-50% split. We'll all pay we'll pay 50% in, and we'll take 50%.
Yeah.
And it'll be completely fair and even. Let's do it. come on, and Sony's saying no.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're saying no because they made so much money from the last one. Why would they want to give that up?
Yeah. I see a lot of people saying, oh, why is Disney asking for 50-50? So they're such a bigger company, they don't need that money.
Because it's their property.
It's still their property. You're thinking about, oh, why is Disney asking for 50-50? Disney are asking for Marvel. Disney own Marvel.
It's Marvel's property that, by a real shitty circumstance, was sold to Sony. Like, that wasn't... It happened because at the time there was no Marvel...
Because Marvel was going
company.
under. Marvel was going bankrupt in the comics industry, and they had to start selling off licenses. And
they sold off movie properties because they didn't really have a movie...
They had no plans to.
They had no movie companies.
Yeah.
They had nothing that was, like, gonna be pushing out that stuff. They never had that expectation. At the time, all the biggest movie producers and like production companies were the ones that would buy their properties, and they'd get it made through them.
Yeah.
So they sold property, and now what's happening is that license is stuck with them for so long.
And as long as they keep making Spider-Man movies, the license will stay with them.
Exactly.
Like, it can't expire unless they keep going for another 50 years.
The license is like a certain amount of time, but it's like a long amount of time.
But until someone's intellectual property technically goes open source, there's a period of time, isn't there?
Yeah.
Unless a family member lays claim to it.
Yeah, I forget how many years it is, but yeah that's true. Like the property can go.
So like it's Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's creation who have both passed. So
it's the same reason. Like right now, you can have comics that aren't made by the main people of Marvel or whatever for Spider-Man that are like other people writing their own. They're not canon. It's just their own story. Yeah. You can still have that because it's been so many years that it's been out that it became open source.
You can kind of do that, and it's only a matter of time before the movies do that, anyways.
Yeah, but we're gonna miss out on all this great story that's been created and all these great...
Like, there was a leak a few days ago about Phase 5 and 6, I think it is, for the MCU.
Uh-huh.
And there's X-Men movies, and there's an X-Men versus Avengers movies, apparently. As well as that, there's going to be a Dark Avengers movie and a New Avengers movie. Now, the New Avengers in the comic, Spider-Man is almost front and center in it. And in the Dark Avengers, Spider-Man is also in that, but he has the Venom suit.
Yeah.
So he's very center stage in a lot of these properties.
And now all of this potential money, like, great content that could come out is going to be...
squandered.
Because of money. I don't know. We kind of want to talk about it and, like, say how... Like, keep this in your eyes. Like,
over the next week, there's probably going to be a lot of development on it. Because it isn't done yet.
No, it's not set, signed, and sealed yet.
The deal is gone at the moment, so technically he's no longer in the MCU as we speak. By the time this comes out on Friday, there could be a new deal.
It could change then. By next week, by the time we start recording the next podcast, we might have more to say.
Exactly. So if there is more to say next week, we probably will.
Right, but just keep your eyes on it, and it's scary to think that something that's been doing so well might potentially be ruined.
Be gone. Because of money.
Yep. But I think for this week's podcast, that's all we have. That's all she wrote.
That's it. We did it.
Another week done. We're getting close to 10. Once 10 hits, we promise we'll try to stop saying what number we're looking forward to next.
Oh no, I'm just gonna pick a new number, but a really random one.
Yeah. Number 42.
Oh, good choice.
So we're super glad that you guys have We're super glad that you guys have enjoyed another podcast with us in it, hopefully.
And better have.
And that you've sat through another interesting week of us talking about stuff that we only are somewhat qualified to talk about.
I think we're pretty qualified.
I mean, we don't actually have qualifications, but in terms of what we've put into the community, we're at least like 5% qualified.
I'd give us at least like 13%. 13%.
All right, fine. I'll settle with you at 10.
Okay.
10%.
I can do 10%.
We're 10% qualified to talk about. Thank you guys so much for listening to us. We have our Discord that's up in the description if you want to join it, and you can chat with us. You can post whatever you want. You can join us in playing games, all that cool stuff.
You should totally get in there because I'm pretty much going to start using that as just my ranting place.
Which is going to be great. We all love to hear people rant about their problems.
I know.
It's going to be related to the content that we're.
Oh yeah, I should probably specify that. I'm not just going to rant about like, oh god, things aren't going well, guys.
And then we have our streams that we're doing. We have mixer.com/thegeekcause-Cody. That should also be somewhere in the description or on Podbean.
What days do you stream, just to remind people?
I stream Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. The times are on the channel. They could fluctuate kind of, but expect me sometime after 1 p.m. Irish Standard Time or 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, somewhere around there, and I usually stream anywhere from 3 to 6 hours, or 3 to 5 hours, really, depending on when I start.
Hefty stream. And sometime in probably the next week, the coming week, before the next episode anyways, I'll have mine up and running at reasonable hours. I might do a few late night ones for any people in odd time zones, because I have a tendency to stream at weird hours.
Yeah, literally, I get a notification on my phone at 2:30 in the morning every night.
It's like last night.
You need to invest in a mic.
Yeah, I do need to invest in I do have a mic.
You need to invest on putting it on then.
Yeah,
because I was like, I remember I watched you for a little bit one night, and I was like, this guy doesn't say anything. He says nothing.
I do be talking. I have to be like in a phone call with people. So I have people to talk to. Don't judge me. But I should be doing it normally.
Well, yeah, we'll see something here soon from everybody.
We might stream together someday.
Yeah, if Kyle can wake up at a reasonable time, then maybe we'll do a dual stream of something soon. We talked about Minecraft.
Hey, if you stream after 1, I'll be awake. God, not that bad.
I am going to end the podcast instead of calling into my reasonable doubt and suspicion that I have towards you. I am hurt. Thank you guys so much for listening.
We love you.
We appreciate you.
You're the best.
And we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.